Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is TITO BIHAQQI ADIL. I'm from University Persada of Indonesia, YAI, majoring in psychology. In this moment, I want to talk about how social media change our attitudes. The Unreal World. Dr. Ali Jazayeri, Associate Professor of Clinical Psychology at the Chicago School of Professional Psychology's Los Angeles campus, believes there are clear and present dangers that must be addressed. I definitely believe that social media has had a significant impact on our lives. The world we see on Facebook and other social media platforms is not real world, it's human creation. Jazayeri explained, among the other dangers that Facebook may pose in our lives, people are happy. They tend to post a lot happy things. When I'm unhappy, however, I will conclusively or unconsciously compare myself to others. As a result, I create a world that isn't real because I imagine that everyone in that world is happy except for me. While each social media site has its own personality and purpose, the wildly popular Facebook and its estimate 1 billion active monthly user has gained the most attention from psychologists for the potential to distort an individual's sense of self and sense of other people. From a psychological standpoint, what worries Jazayeri the most is the risk of slipping too far into a virtual world and losing touch with a real life, real self, and real priorities. A 2011 clinical report on the impact of social media on children, adolescents, and families, published in Pediatrics, the official journal of the American Academy of Pediatrics, was one of the first to raise the issue of Facebook depression among young people, worried that they weren't accumulating enough friends or likes to their status updates. Around the time, Dr. Selika Andersen and her colleagues at the University of Bergen in Norway published a piece about their work with the Bergen Facebook addiction scale, the journal Psychological Reports, and this all came on the heels of somewhat controversial news that the American Psychiatric Association was considered the addition of internet addiction in an appendix to the Diagnosis Statistical Manual of Mental Disorder. Slated for release later this year, what concerns Jazayeri most from a psychologist's perspective is the danger of slipping too far into a virtual world and losing a sense of real life, real self, and real priorities. Some people use this social media to create something that they are not. He says, explaining that the virtual world can distract people so much from their lives that they either forget who they are or become so involved in the reality they've created that they don't want to work on their own issues. Instead of me trying to deal with things I don't like about myself, I will go online and present myself in the way I'd like to be seen without any change to me. It's dangerous and very deceptive. If you look at the histories of psychology, we've spent the last 100 years trying to help people know themselves better, deal with their shortcomings, deal with things they don't want to have. So we have a very reality-oriented atmosphere in our Western psychology. Jazayeri worries that an overreliance on this virtual world that we create online is undermining all the progress human beings have made in addressing real-life problems. As psychologists, we have theories based on the reality of patient life. Our goal is to help people try to see themselves for the reality of what they are. He continues, but if we perceive that everyone else is perfect, then we push ourselves to become someone that we are not, and then we get frustrated, and then we get depressed. Like Turkel and other experts, he is careful to also note the value of such sites for helping people do everything from reconnect with old friends and family members to rallying community members during times of national tragedy of disaster. However, he believes we need limits, that as a society we need to be vigilant about taking time to unplug, to disconnect, and to reconnect with ourselves and our real life. In a statement that echoes Gurdjieff's word from 1991, Jazairi concludes by saying, "Someday, I hope we will appreciate that the computer is not a substitute for a real human being." The professional fiber. John Fowler received an MA in psychology at TCSPPS Chicago campus in 2009 and for several years made his business teaching other professionals how to use social media to advance their career. 3 years have passed since he published his book, Graduate to Link Jumpstart Your Career Support Network Now, and he say, the social media of today is really vastly different. Professionally, you say that you want to brand yourself, but you can sometimes get so lost in branding yourself the way you want to be perceived that what you present online isn't who you really are. When potential employers meet you in person, they want you to be consistent. Caution Fowler, who now works at Deloitte Consulting and sometimes using his social media background to help clients leverage their brand. However, in a virtual world where everyone exaggerates and reality is always slightly distorted, the temptation to lie or stretch the truth is stronger than ever. It's one thing to post your pretty vacation photos on Facebook or to exaggerate how wonderful your life is. But when it comes to LinkedIn and other professional use social media, truth and ethics are just as important online as they are on your printed resume. One huge thing that gone on over time is the social media world isn't always real. It isn't reality. I think we need to keep that in mind. Fowler say, there's a fine line between branding yourself well and straight up lying and misprinting your experience. Resumes have always been prone to exaggeration, despite the best advice to be ready to back up any degree or certification you might claim to have earned. However, in a virtual world where it is understand that everyone exaggerates and reality is always slightly distorted, the temptation to lie or stretch the truth is more pervasive than ever. And for the younger generation, people who were born into this age, there's a danger there that they could possibly take this as the way the world is. He continues, I think some people want to hide. You go on Twitter and you have an avatar and you want to hide behind that. But when that doesn't match up to who you really, especially professionally, that's when it comes back to haunt you. They say, Fowler say he still believes in the professional power of social networking sites like LinkedIn and more recently Facebook page being utilized by business and organization. Social media has its advantage and disadvantage. It's a tool, and like any tool, you can use it the wrong way. There are great things that come out of it. Just recently, it was instrumental in raising money for people who were affected by Hurricane Sandy, and I think it's going to evolve. The social aspect of this platform is going to live on. What remains to be seen in how this will affect the way we conduct business. Love in the time of social media. In all the incarnation and manifestation of social media in our life, one aspect that can be ignored, particularly when it comes to how we present ourselves and perceive others, is how the always on, must be perfect virtual world has changed our most intimate relationship. Whether you're a single 20-something looking for a Mr. or Mrs. Right, or newly divorced parent dipping your toes back into the dating scenes, online sites such as Match.com, OkCupid.com, and eHarmony.com have revolutionized the idea of how we meet and connect with the new people. The fairy tale endings are legendary, as are the tales of love, loss, and heartbreak, but what is often overlooked is how the surreal world of social media affects people who are already in domestic partnership, marriage, and other long-term partnerships. Dr. Melody Bacon, a licensed clinical therapist, assistant dean of academic affairs and chair of the Marital and Family Therapy program at the LA campus, says social media and the distraction of technology cause problems for people because they provide another way to disconnect. To disconnect or disconnect. That disconnect that Bacon refers to is the very heart of what Turkle is chronicling in Together Alone. As we instant message, email, text, and Twitter, technology redraws the boundaries between intimacy and solitude. We talk of getting rid of our emails as though these notes are so much excess baggage. Teenagers avoid making telephone calls, fearful that they reveal too much. They would rather text than talk. Adults to choose keyboards over the human voice. The irony of it all is that we can see happening to our kids, our friends, even ourselves. We know it's a problem, but we don't know how to stop it. That's all from me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.